Hi guys, Boltzhaus here. Today I want to take you to boot camp and teach you everything you need to know so that you can have a flying start to your Broken Arrow marathons. So this first session will be mainly for people that have never played a similar real-time strategy game, but it might still be useful for the more seasoned veterans out there as well. The tutorial on my channel might change in the future, but the fundamentals should remain the same. I will, however, make updated tutorials when there's a need for it. This first video will be a general view at what this game is, what a battle group is, and what to think of when building a battle group. Later in this video and in follow-up videos I'll be going into all the details of each category. So for this video just sit back and let it all sink in. So what is Broken Arrow? Broken Arrow is a modern day real-time strategy game that takes you to a fictional conflict between nations, and you get to use some of the most modern weaponry that each nation has to offer and take it up against other players in multiplayer matches or against AI in single player mode, which will include campaigns that are story driven. The full game will include, thus, single player campaigns, which will take you through a storyline while also teaching you the fundamentals of the game and should be both very enjoyable and also teach you how to play. The full game will also have a mission maker which gives us the ability to create our own campaigns, so prepare yourself for some rolling conflict campaign remakes. So you land on the main menu of the game. If you want to play multiplayer, the first thing you should do is create a battle group. A battle group is like a deck of cards, but in this case you can pick which cards you hold and you battle it out against someone else with a deck of cards of their own choosing. So the first thing we will look at are battle groups. When you click on create battle group, you can pick a country to play as. At the moment of writing, there is only the US and Russia, and each country has a couple specializations, such as US Marine Corps and Armored for the US. A simple analogy would be that a country's military in this game is a hand, with the fingers being the specializations that include the US Marine Corps, for example. Now you have to combine two specializations in order to be able to actually build a battle group. And then we can start picking units. So more nations and specializations will be released with time, so this is really only the beginning, and with more specializations there will be more possible combinations of these specializations. For the sake of this video and for the simplicity, I will just use the US battle group as an example, since most of the units will be quite familiar in one way or the other, but the fundamentals of building a battle group will be similar when building the Russian battle group, of course with some changes because of the differences in units, of course. Now each category has a maximum amount of points that you can spend on it, and the limit is set by the combination of specializations. For example, if you only select US Marine Corps, these are the maximum points you can spend on each category. But if you combine it with the Armored specialization, some categories have a higher point ceiling, meaning you can get more units in this category. In the future, other specializations will affect the maximum points of each category in a different way, so definitely keep an eye out on this. I will not get into all the small details of every unit. First, I want to just go through all the categories in a general way and explain to you what these categories are all about, and then we can dive into the details later. So let's go over the categories. When we start building our battle group, the first category we encounter is Recon. These are units that have enhanced optics, which will help you see further and better than regular units. These are your eyes and ears on the ground. The infantry category is for all of your regular soldiers. You can select what type of soldier you would like in your army or in your deck of cards. For example, we can select soldiers that are basically Terminators when they encounter enemy soldiers. Besides that, we can also select infantry that is specialized in destroying aircraft or tanks. Each infantry can be coupled with transportation. For example, engineers can be coupled with these Bradleys or other types of vehicles. After infantry, we have the vehicle category, which includes tanks and other vehicles, but mainly it's where you can select which tanks you would like. After tanks, we have the support category, which includes artillery, which are long-range weapons that can fire explosive rounds, smoke rounds, big missiles towards the enemy. Besides artillery, there's also anti-aircraft weapons, such as the Patriot, which can shoot down incoming airplanes and incoming missiles. And besides those two types of units, the most essential unit in the game might be a supply truck, which can be used to transport both soldiers but also supplies to units in need of ammunition, repair, or even medical aid. Finally, we have helicopters and airplanes. Now these two sections involve both transport helicopters and airplanes, but also attack helicopters and airplanes. These range from the Super Cobra and Viper, which are your attack helicopters at the moment of writing, all the way down to the C-130, which you can use to drop infantry and certain vehicles and even supplies right on top of your enemy. So that's what a battle group is built out of. I'll now be going into all the tiny details of each category within a battle group, and also all the small statistics that might have caught your eye on the right side of the screen. So for the remainder of this video, I will be taking you through the Recon tab and talk through all the statistics on the right side. Recon units are essential. Without Recon, your match will be quite a difficult one. Besides being able to see better, they are usually also more difficult to become detected by your opponent's units because of their stealth. Now let's start simple, and let's click on the Scout Sniper. When we click on this unit, it opens up a window with a ton of information that might seem overwhelming at first, so the first thing that we are going to do is click this button here, just to simplify it for a moment. It shows you a couple of things on this top right side. First of all, it shows you the cost of this unit. This is how much this unit would cost to put in both the Recon category, but also the called out. Just below that is a parachute icon, which means it can be paradropped, which is the act of it jumping out of an airplane with a parachute. Below that is a symbol that indicates if this unit can sprint or not, which can be very useful in case you need to quickly cross a road or get away from incoming danger. Below that is a laser icon, and this indicates whether this unit can use a laser to designate a target or to tag a target, such as an enemy unit, to help you hit that unit with pinpoint accuracy using weapons that can make use of this laser designation. I will get into this in a separate section fully dedicated to laser designation, because it's quite an interesting one. Now in the horizontal tab, we have a couple of basic statistics, such as armor points, health, squad size, its optical range, meaning the maximum range that it can spot enemy units at, stealth points, with 3 being the maximum, so this is actually the best you can get. Next to that is the speed of this unit and also the weight of this unit. Now the weight is actually quite important when you want to perform a paradropping mission, for example, since the C-130 has both a maximum carrying capacity for men, but also a maximum weight capacity. You can probably not reach that weight capacity with only soldiers, but if you add a couple of vehicles into the mix, you close in on the maximum quite quickly. Now below all of this are the weapon stats. The Scout Sniper team comes stock with the M38 DMR, designated marksman rifle, and the M40A1 sniper. And when you click on each weapon, it gives you a detailed overview of this weapon. So let's untick this and go into all the small details. It tells you how long it takes for this weapon to be ready to fire, together with magazine size, and the time it takes to reload after firing all 10 shots in this case. Below that is information of the bullet that is fired, and these icons here indicate which units can be engaged by this weapon. It also tells you the range, the amount of damage it does, the dispersion, how much suppression power it has, how much armor it can penetrate, and also the supply cost of replenishing a single bullet. So whatever bit of information you might want to have, you got it. Some of these stats will not be here when you look at, for example, the cavalry scouts. They do not have the ability to laser designate units, but they do have smoke grenades, which you can deploy if you need to get out of a tough situation quickly. But that is not all. In this game, pretty much every unit can be modified to your needs. For example, the M40A5 can be replaced with the M107 anti-material rifle, which is a 50 cal sniper rifle, which can be devastating to both infantry but also light armored vehicles. But of course, infantry is gonna just get blasted away, and it has a really nice range of 1200 meters. Now, most infantry only has a range of about 400 to 500 meters with their weapons, which is vastly outranged by this M107 sniper rifle. So what we could do in this battle group is add 2 sniper teams. Now, you might think 2 sniper teams are not enough. What if I lose them both? In this game, units that are destroyed come back later. There's a countdown or a cooldown on them, and after that you can purchase them again and send them to the front line. So this is quite different compared to other RTS games where your battle group will have all of the units you would ever need in a fight, and if you lose them, they're gone permanently. But in this game, that is not the case. The next thing you can do is give it a vehicle. And this is where things get even more interesting. The vehicles are interchangeable, so whenever the vehicle capacity allows it, you can put other units in there, so you do not have to have a vehicle for every single unit when you build your battle group. For example, the sniper team can be transported in these LAV-25s. Now, when we click on the LAV-25s, we once again see a ton of information on the right side. One additional icon is this one here, which indicates that it is amphibious, meaning it can swim. On the picture, it shows you armor values, and you probably notice that there's two colors of types of armor. One is white and indicates the amount of protection against kinetic weapons in millimeters. Kinetic weapons are basically solid masses that are shot at you, such as a bullet, and the orange one indicates protection against heat or high explosive anti-tank weapons in millimeter. Now, vehicles also have armor on the top, and this is important because there are weapons that can hit vehicles by arching up and slamming down on top, like the Javelin ATGM. So, the anti-material rifle, with its 20 to 40 millimeter kinetic penetration, would actually be able to damage a vehicle like the LAV-25 if it was on the receiving end. Now, you don't need to couple every infantry squad with a vehicle at all times. You can also take them on foot and walk them to the front line, which isn't optimal, or just put them in transports that you gave to other infantry squads. And that way you have less transport options, but that frees up points that I can spend on an additional sniper team. Besides the fact that vehicle can be used by other infantry units in your deck, they can also be sold back to get a partial refund. And then you can call out a different infantry squad with that refunded LAV-25, which comes back to you after a while. So let's say you transport your snipers to the frontline LAV-25s. You could sell these vehicles, get a refund, and then these units, these LAV-25s, will become available again, and now you can bring other units in these same LAV-25s. Now, the same is true for every single other unit. You can also sell the sniper team itself if you do not want to keep it around and get a partial refund. That depends on how much ammunition you used, how much damage you took, etc. Now, you always want a couple of different types of recon units. Recon units can take the form of sniper teams, fire teams, vehicles, drones, and even specialized tanks, and are essential to bring into a match. At the moment of writing, this is a really nice combination of recon units, and it is also relatively easy to understand, especially if you're new to the game. So you could come up with something like this. We could have, for example, 2 scout snipers in LAV-25s. We could have 4 cavalry scouts coming with 2, so they would have access to 2 M3A4 CFVs, which could be used by the sniper teams as well, because they have 3 seats and the sniper squad is a squad of 2. So these could be interchangeable, since the LAV-25 has 6 slots or 6 seats, and that could be used by the cavalry scouts. And then we have the M7A4 B-Fist, and this is basically a really good Recon Bradley. Now, we upgraded its armor, giving it the Busk 3 reactive armor. If we just go to base, you can see that the front armor offers 100mm protection against solid and also high explosive anti-tank weaponry, while the side is 80, the top and rear are 40 and 60 respectively. If we go for the Busk 3 reactive armor, these values increase. The kinetic increases a little bit, but in some cases the heat millimeter protection increases 4 times, so it's quite a substantial increase. Besides that, the sides are now very resilient against heat, but also a little bit more for kinetic weapons, while the rear and top are not changed. Next thing we can also upgrade is the protection system. It comes with no protection system, but if you get the Iron Fist active protection system with this unit, you actually get defenses against incoming missiles. For example, an ATGM that either a helicopter or infantry squad fired at you. The last thing that we can upgrade is the optics. We can go for the base optics, which gives this unit 2000 meters range. We can go for the slightly upgraded version, which gives us 400 meters extra. And on top of that, we can also get an engine upgrade, which increases our speed from 55 to 70 going forwards, and from 20 to 25 going in reverse. So as you can see, we have 300 points left. So you can mix and match and perhaps get some other units that you would like. For example, we could get a truck, and we can upgrade this truck with an anti-tank launcher on top, the TOW-2A anti-tank missile, or a grenade launcher. Let's just get some force recon which are quite good infantry squads. These are special forces. And also these units can be upgraded. You have, for example, the Green Ops loadout, which includes a DMR, on-the-bow grenade launchers, and AT4 anti-tank weapons. Or you can go for Black Ops, which makes it a completely anti-infantry focused squad, giving it shotguns. You still do retain your anti-tank capabilities, although it is less effective. The M72A10 Law has a penetration value of 66mm as heat, so anything with, let's say, 100mm heat armor protection will not be damaged by this as much, while the AT4 has 450mm heat. So this is mainly for lightly armored vehicles. So that way you can shape your recon tab. So let's get a couple more force recon. We'll go for 4 of these guys, and we'll put them in LAV. We'll just get 1 LAV. This way, we have 3 LAV-25s that can be shared among the cavalry scouts, scout snipers, and force recon, and also infantry in the infantry tab if they are at the most 6-men squads. Besides that, this Bradley can be shared among the sniper teams and the cavalry scouts, because these are at the most 3-men teams. This Bradley cannot transport infantry. It does not have infantry carrying capacity. This is purely a recon unit. Now I will be cutting it here because it might become too much, and we will continue in the next video with infantry and vehicles. And this video will follow very closely to this one, so keep an eye out for that. So I hope that this first introductory video to Broken Arrow helped you understand what the game is about, and that the tease into building a battle group motivated you to check out the next videos in this series.